Cypher the Cellar, Season 2, Episode 3. I'm one half of your host of the squad, Dots.
You already know. Social Life Promotions, Buddy Calhoun, Cypher the Cellar fans. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Today we got a special guest. He says he don't like to do interviews, but we got him down here, Cypher the Cellar. Let's get it. I want to introduce one of the best producers in the city, if not the best, Flex. Let's go.
I sit and imagine if I was on tour overseas out in France screaming bonjour. I get a rush of just the thought of an encore. At consort to concourse and consort. What you think the whole reason that I rhyme for? Like my mind combined with
Man, what up?
What's up, man? How
How's
you been, man?
Chilling, man, chilling.
Finally got you down here.
Finally, the hat's low so the camera won't look in my eyes.
Right, man. The people out there know who you are already,
Yeah,
so,
hopefully.
you know, especially in the city. But tell us a little bit about, you know, coming up in New York and some of your influences on, you know, what got you started into not only producing, but into hip-hop, period.
Hip-hop, period.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, back in the days, I come from Brooklyn, New York, Brownsville, Brooklyn.
Right.
Basically, I was probably one of the only Puerto Ricans out there who was in the streets bugging out. Well, started with music. I used to hang out with a group of people, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they started rapping and stuff, so we ended up starting to go to the studio. So I used to go to the studio and sit back and watch this guy by the name of Swanee.
Okay.
He's actually the person who basically inspired me to become a producer.
Okay.
So I went into the studio one day, he was sitting there banging on this big metal box. He was just going crazy on it, and I'm just looking at him like, damn, this dude's crazy. It's like all these sounds coming out of this one little box.
Right.
So it kind of intrigued me, and I was like, holy shit, like, I need that metal box.
Right.
So I like dreamed about it for God knows how long, for like weeks. And I was probably like, I don't know, 14, 15. Went home to my mom's. I was like, yo, Mom, I need this box. Or whatever the case may be. So I was saving up. I was hustling back then. I don't know, something happened. My mom's ended up getting the box for me,
Right.
which ended up being an MPC 2500
Okay.
that I have today since I was like,
Gotcha.
since it first came out. And I still make beats on it. But when I got it, I went straight to the studio and told Swanee, I was like, yo, Swanee, you know, I need to know this.
Everything about it. Right,
He was a little bit busy, but he told me a couple things. But I went back and downloaded all of the whole booklet online and just went through it and started pressing buttons.
Right.
So all the people who know me back then when I was making beats, they used to be like, yo, you just like to press buttons. Because I press buttons and find out what that button does, and that was it.
Look, I worked with you.
Yeah,
I
you
worked with you,
before,
so I know, like, you still do like to press buttons. But
Yeah, I love
it comes out masterful, man.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it, man.
That's some of the only words I can say.
That's
So
dope.
how hard was it? Let me ask you this, and this is something, you know, a lot of people might not get. How hard was it, you know, to come up in the hip hop scene and not to want to be a rapper, but to want to do something other than rap?
Wow, good question.
I mean, because everybody wants to rap. When as soon as they see it, everybody wants to rap.
To be really honest, when I grew around black people my whole life. Like, some of my closest best friends are black.
Right.
I've never really had like Puerto Rican friends.
Right.
So I was kind of the only Puerto Rican in the hood. And what other Puerto Rican was rapping back then?
Back then, probably Crack, but that's
About it.
Yeah.
It was Joey Crack.
Yeah.
But other than him, it was nobody else.
Right.
So I was like, I'm not trying to be a Puerto Rican rapper. Nobody else is popping who's Puerto Rican. So what are the chances of me making it?
Right.
And plus, the beat thing made me feel like I just felt good doing it.
Right.
My grandfather was an artist too, a musician, and he passed away. He got killed. Coming out of a club where his cousin killed him and stuff. But anyways, that's another story. He did music, sang, played guitar and everything, and I got his first and I got his middle name, Felix.
Okay.
And I'm the only one in the family who actually makes beats.
Okay.
So it kind of was bred into me in some sort of way. My mom's used to play all of the old, you know what I mean, old music and stuff like that. And when I started making beats, I felt this feeling like I could just create my life on a beat. That's why I take it so serious when I'm making beats.
Right.
I post something today like, if you're making a beat and you don't feel that in your heart, and sometimes you don't cry, or sometimes you don't feel that chill, or that makes you want to cry. Because I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I make beats, I feel like I want to cry, or sometimes I do because it's so passionate.
But I mean,
so I knew
like,
it was good. That's what made me start.
To be honest, you know, and I'm speaking like from a rapper's point of view, like without the beat, like you don't have anything. Like you don't have that like you might say some of the hardest shit, or
Yeah.
you might say some of the most thought-provoking shit, but without a beat.
The beat is the vibe.
Like
Yeah.
that's not, that sets the mood. You
Of
know what I
course.
mean?
Of
Like
course it does.
even movies have soundtracks. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Of course.
like I agree with you on that.
So yeah, that's what made me become a producer. I felt that I can create anything I wanted to create, and came directly from me, from sound design. I could take one sound, and that one sound could be 3,000. It can be a million different sounds as long as you tweak it certain ways.
Right.
So you know what I mean? You can only say words a certain amount of ways, and somebody said it the same way. But I can take one sound and make it my own sound, and nobody could do it the way I did it. You get what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So that's what it was for me. But yeah, that's what it was.
So being you grew up in New York, correct?
Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York. What were some of the primary influences that came from New York? That,
Oh man!
I mean,
I lived right underneath Helter Skelter. You know what I mean? Like some of my closest friends, you know what I mean? MOP, they were up the block. I seen AZ across the street. He used to buy everybody ices when I was younger. I tell that story all the time. So I was always around people. I always walked my dogs around Marcy Ave and seen Jay-Z hanging out in front of the store with all his friends and car, you know, things like that. So hip hop is real big in Brooklyn at that point in time when I was growing up. So that really influenced me too. I was just listening to all this, you know, Nas, everything from Queensbridge, and I mean, everybody wanted to be a rapper back then because you had Jay-Z, you had Nas, you had all these artists that are coming from Brooklyn, from New York. So that's what really influenced me to become this producer and stuff. You know what I mean? But
I see you promoting Dream Loud. Let's talk about Dream Loud.
So Dream Loud is a company. I'm the founder of Dream Loud Music Program. What I do is I travel on the East Coast. I travel Pennsylvania, Baltimore, and New York, and I go to different juvenile detention centers and prisons, and I teach them music production, recording, engineering, the history of hip hop. I also mentor them. You know what I mean? I give them good words, mentor them, and I teach them that you can actually make money in music without being a rapper or a producer. There's different lanes in this hip hop game that allows us to make money in different markets and different places doing different things. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people just know the rapper, the producer, the promoter. So I try to teach these kids that you can go ahead and make money doing this and doing that and doing this, but you can also take that whole inspiration to make money and make music and move it to another business and do other stuff. So that's what Dream Loud is. Dream Loud Music Program is actually a music production program that I created that teaches juvenile detention, the youth in juvenile detentions, and even in Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It inspires them. It just teaches them another route of gold and dreaming loud, like I say, dreaming. So.
And how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing it for 2 years, successfully 2 years. It allowed me to actually stop doing my 13-year job that I've been doing for 13 years. And it allowed me to do part-time there now, and this is Dream Loud is my full-time.
Okay.
It's how I make a living. It's what I do for a living now. So I actually make money off of my music,
And this,
aside from other stuff.
And this is something, you know, and I have to say this because, you know, I've been around
For a long time.
Dream Loud.
Years, yeah.
But specifically speaking, like the Dream Loud program, you know, when we used to work together.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
I see these kids, man, and I see like, it was like the hardest kids, you know, because I would deal with them,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
in different
he was there.
capacity.
He
And
was
then, you know, every week they're like, oh, we're ready to go to the studios. Flex coming. You know, every day they would ask me, yo, is Flex coming? What time is Flex coming? And, you know, you take these hard kids, and these kids were like bad. You know, not bad, but I would say maybe misguided.
Yeah, misguided.
But then
in
you
a
get
different
them
environment.
into a place like that, into a situation like that, when you brought the Dream Loud program, you know, to them, and they were like, you know, in awe of sitting there watching you make a beat, and then they wanted to get on and make beats, and then, you know, they wanted to get on and they wrote raps, and, you know, then even you know, some of the kids I would have problems with after going to the studio and seeing, you know, how you work in the studio, seeing that we were cool.
Yeah.
You know, they would come back to me, and, you know, I say that to say, you know, sometimes kids just need that kind of guidance.
Yes, definitely, bro.
They need something to connect.
Yes.
Connect with some of us older guys. You know, and I just want to tell you, you know, I appreciate that.
Thanks,
and
bro.
Shout
Appreciate
out
it,
to Dream Loud. Shout out to TJ, what he's doing with Vision.
Yes.
You know, me and TJ get
brother,
into it
yeah.
all the time on
Yeah,
Facebook,
yeah.
but, you know, I appreciate the things that you
Good
guys
brother,
are doing.
man. One of my closest brothers. for
So,
real.
with that being said, how do you think the music affects the younger crowd now?
I mean, it affects them. It always affected them. So this is what we gotta understand: is that hip hop always affected us, even when it first started.
Right.
It showed everything that people in our environment, in poverty and in low income housing or in the hood, it actually gave everybody a sheet to write down what they seen and what they went through, and gave it out to the world. And once you give it out to the world and you give out that energy, it always affects either in a bad and in a good way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it does affect, without a doubt.
So in my question, that maybe this is what I was really trying to say. Like, how do you feel about, like you said, when it was our age, we wrote down the things that we did, or we were affected by things that we did. Nowadays, to me, and I could be wrong, it seems like they do the things then rap about. Like it's backwards to me. That's how I feel.
So what I think about the music today, I love the music today. I think in hip hop, I think we're in a great position at this moment where we allowed hip hop to grow into this circle where there's so much talent. So we still have the J. Coles, we still have the people who's lyrical, who's spitting this and spitting that for the people who've grown up in the hip hop. But then again, we still have the vibe shit that's going on now, which is pretty dope. But don't get it twisted. I listen to everything. I mean, I listen to every single, because I'm dealing with these young kids on a daily basis.
Right. So you gotta know.
Yeah, not even that. Sometimes I go and I ask them, yo, I need you to write down all the shit that y'all guys listen to, all the names, and then I'll go and I spend all day and listen to it all day. So the music now, you might not think that they're saying shit, but they actually are. Even if it's mumble, even if it's you can't really hear them.
Yeah.
You know, they saying the stuff that they're going through. It's just not as clear as it should be because it's not coming from New York or the East Side where people actually can say the shit clearly. They're saying it their own way. So that's why I think that music is in a great place right now because it's given the opportunity for so many kids, so many people in the atmosphere and environment that we grew up in. It gives them an outlook. So if you can go ahead and make a song in your crib and throw it out and make millions of dollars out of it and get your moms out of the hood and get yourself out of the hood to where you ain't got to deal with this situation no more, so be it, man. Have fun. Have fun doing it because at the end of the day, you might not like this. You might not like this song, but give this song to this dude, and this dude is crying to sleep listening to that song. He wake up the next morning feeling inspired. So it might not work for you, but it'll work for somebody else. So that's where I'm at with that.
And going into inspiring other producers. What advice could you give for a young producer out there that is really trying to make a name for itself, that is trying to build a platform to share his music, to share his beats and things of that nature? What advice would you give them? So
first off, I'm gonna plug in what I'm about to do, and then I'm gonna answer that question. I'm in the process right now of creating this podcast where I'm gonna start casting for co-hosts. And with this podcast, it's gonna bring the attention to the producers, and it's gonna give the information because with producers, we got this image to where we don't like to share certain stuff that we do. We don't like to share this plug-in. We don't like this. We don't like that. Well, my podcast is gonna let it all out. Let everything out. So
I'm tell them where I got the sample.
I'm gonna tell them everything. I mean, anything questions that they need. I'm trying to help these producers. I got this new burning desire, and something in my mind and in my heart is telling me to help these new producers that are coming up, and try to give them another way or a lead way, so that way. I mean, I ain't do much, but I did something, and what I can teach is what I know. What can I say to producers is to don't give a fuck what anybody's saying. Don't give a fuck what producers or what artists are saying. Create what you want to create and just put it out there. I mean, you don't have to worry about who's supporting you. Don't worry about who's sharing your shit, how many likes, how many this, how many that. That stuff doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Just go in there, create what you feel is good for you, not for that artist, not for this artist, not, yo, bro, can you make a type beat or can you make this? No, I don't make type beats. I make flex beats. You're gonna get what I feel is me. If you don't like it, someone else will. So don't worry about what anybody else is saying. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just make music and put it out there for the world. See, back then, we didn't have what y'all guys have now. Y'all guys don't have, y'all guys got so much, so much. When I was producing and I made a beat, I had to get up, get dressed, find money to get on a train, to go to Manhattan, or to go to whomever. Now you can make a beat. In 10 minutes, you can post it on SoundCloud. You can share it on every major streaming site. You can promote $5 to send. I mean, there's so much shit that you can do. If you want to learn something, you can go on YouTube. Go right on YouTube, type in how to do this. Boom, it's right there. So to grasp on to everything that y'all guys have is not. They're not utilizing all of it. It's just not being utilized the way it should be, or maybe it is, and a lot of producers don't know. But yeah, just don't care. Okay. Don't give a fuck. Gotcha. Just do what you do and let it out to the world.
I just want to know. Top 3 albums when it comes to production.
When it comes to production.
Yes.
Right off the top is Reasonable Doubt.
Okay.
Reasonable Doubt to me is one of the best albums ever. Is the best album ever. I'm not gonna say one of them. I put Reasonable Doubt on top number 1. For production, for lyrics, for just the whole project in general.
Wow.
Because there was so many crazy producers at that time that don't even get the recognition for the most dopest album in the world. Ski Beats, for instance.
Ski, yeah, easy.
You know what I mean?
A lot of people don't even know Ski was the first guy that rapped on Can I Get Open?
Yeah.
Flavor. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. So I think number 1 would be Jay-Z. I think number 2, at one point in time, I felt as if Illmatic was a great produced album.
I definitely think it was. Yeah.
And it is. But after listening to all of the albums, Nas's albums, I would say It Was Written. It Was Written is a fucking dope
That's
album.
tough too.
It's a dope album.
It's crazy because I actually listened to It Was Written like 3 weeks ago.
Crazy hits.
And
hits on top of hits.
Yeah, from front to back. Even the one he has with the one he has with Dre on
Yeah,
there.
and that's the least one that I don't like.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't like that one.
Yeah, I like that the most.
Yeah.
The one with him and Dre, I like that the most. So, but yeah.
And the third one, and I'm only gonna say this because when I heard it, it was just like, it was just a new vibe. It was just when the 808s started coming through, and it was just a bunch of 808s and heartbreaks from Kanye West. Yeah. That's a totally different from Jay-Z, Nas to Kanye West, the 808 and heartbreak. But the only reason why I like it was because it just gave a different, a crazy vibe of 808s and shit.
Because
you know what I mean?
exactly what you just said, Kanye just didn't give a fuck.
And he just let it out.
Every time Kanye did something,
he still doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He still.
I mean, if you give me time to think, I probably would pick something else different. But off the top of my head, those are the ones that I.
All right, so now we're gonna go into, this is something we ask on Cypher in the Cellar every week. Top 5 rappers of all time. If you were stuck on an island and you only could take 5 rappers material with you, who would they be?
We're gonna go Jay-Z.
Okay.
Jay-Z.
That's not a bad choice.
Nas 5.
Hold on.
His catalog.
Huh? His whole catalog, bro. I'm a Jay-Z.
Another artist's whole
So you want to listen
So okay, I'll give y'all something. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put Jay-Z as first. We're gonna put Nas.
Okay.
We're gonna listen to Jay-Z. We're gonna listen to Nas. We're gonna listen to whatever Kanye West made. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna listen to. I'm gonna get a whole mixtape of whatever Rick Rubin produced.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's just a whole mixtape of what Rick Rubin
right
produced.
there get you through a few years.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? That get you through a few years.
And five, man. I would probably say, man, bro. I couldn't. Maybe M or some Big Pun. Probably so.
All right.
No, you know what?
50
Cent. 50 Cent would be my 5th one.
50 got
His whole
catalog,
catalog. His whole catalog.
Yeah, 50 got a
Because I grew up
catalog,
on 50 Cent.
Yeah.
So 50 Cent would be his whole catalog.
Definitely.
So you got it there. All right, so we had a great interview today. Cypher in the Cellar, Season 2, Episode 3. Flex. Thank y'all for tuning in. Cypher in the Cellar, Season 2.
Deuces.
Flex. Buddy,
You
got
already
any
know.
shout outs,
Social
Flex, you want to give?
No shout outs, man. I'm here. No shout outs, bro. I want to give a shout out to TJ
Dream
Griffin
loud.
with the Vision program.
TJ,
We're doing great things. Yes, definitely.
TJ, we got to get you on
definitely
bro.
get TJ up here. Give a shout out to y'all guys and Cypher in the Cellar for having me over. I appreciate it very much.
The honor was ours to have.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
like
Man.
you guys.
And everybody else in Lancaster just doing what they doing and just working hard, not giving a fuck what anybody else is doing, man. Make your music, put it out. Don't worry about likes. Don't worry about shares. Don't worry about none of that shit. Just make your music. music, put it out to let the world hear, because we only, when we think about that, we only worried about the 5% that's sitting around us. We're not worried about the fucking 100 billion% that's out there right now. We got a whole world. Got a whole world, so don't worry about it, man.
That's right.
Sir,
Cypher in the cellar.